The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Muskovic.
Marko Muskovic is registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004, and at Wealth Strategy Partners, 677 Ala Moana Boulevard, Suite 720, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations.
And now your host, Marko Muskovic.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Muskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. And you are listening to Hawaii Money Resource. You can hear the show at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And you can also download a podcast and stream live at HawaiiMoneyResource.com. HawaiiMoneyResource.com is a great place, like I already said, for podcasts, in case that you miss any part of the show, but also going back and download the podcast from the previous guest. You can also see the pictures of our guests and much, much more. Hawaii Money Resource, like I said, is the radio show pro business. We are here to share the stories of existing business owners, entrepreneurs, and see how did they become one, how did they start their business, how did they grow their business, and how did they hopefully successfully planning to get out of their business. So all this information is at Hawaii Money Resource, your leading resource for business intelligence and much more. I want to tell you a couple more things. When we are not talking about business with the business owner, we're not talking about the entrepreneurs, we're talking about business planning and how you can grow your business so you can get out of the business in one point in the future. For more information on our business exit planning, you can go to our website and check the business exit planning tab. There is a 7-step process that people should follow in order to get themselves ready for that departure date. Business exit planning, someone asked me earlier, when should I start preparing for a business exit? And I tell them, listen, as soon as possible, because a lot of stuff that we do in the process of business exit planning, actually you should do in your business regardless if you're leaving or not. So all this information is available, and of course, if you want to talk to me directly and just get a little bit of idea of how long it takes, what you need to do to prepare yourself and your business, give me a call, 695-2102, 695-2102. Also, one last thing I want to mention is pictures of our guests. If you want to see who are these people that had enough courage to start their business and go down that path, you can see who they are. Okay, perfect. Let's go back. Let's introduce today's guest. It's a good friend of mine, also business owner, Dr. Joseph Breuwet. Dr. Joseph Breuwet, upper cervical chiropractor. Joe, welcome to Hawaii Money Resource.
Hi, thanks, Marko.
Joe, I know everything pretty much about you, but our listeners do not know. So why don't you tell me 30 seconds, just a 30-second spiel about upper cervical, because you guys are so unique, pretty much so unique that you have your own niche when it comes to chiropractic. So tell me the 30-second spiel.
Okay. Well, upper cervical is a specialized type of chiropractic. So we basically don't do twisting, cracking, popping. It's a very specialized, very precise type of chiropractic. So currently I'm the only one that does exactly what I do on this island, and one of 3 in the state of Hawaii. And a lot of times we attract people because not only we're working specifically in the area of the brainstem that impacts the entire body and also the nerve function in your entire body, but people really are attracted to the not cracking, twisting, and the specific adjustment that we get.
And I'll tell you, that's the biggest turnoff when it comes to, for me personally, like just that idea of someone cracking my neck, it just freaks me out. Joe, why don't we, before we talk about business, and we're going to have a lot of time to talk about it and go through it, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Well, I went to school in Miami, Florida, and originally I was very attracted, and all my life I was in hospitality. So I was always in hotel restaurant business, And I actually was a general manager for Marriott until I was about 38 years old. At that point in time, this was right after 9/11 happened, and hospitality, if anybody remembers that time, hospitality just went down the tubes. And it was really difficult at that time. We became very micromanaged. It just wasn't fun anymore. And so I was looking for something else to do, and people ask me all the time, how did you get into chiropractic? And I really kind of took the back door because, ironically, I grew up in the town where the foundation, the founding school for chiropractic was, but I never was interested in chiropractic, never went there unless I had a major injury, which didn't even happen until like I was 32 wakeboarding in the river. And so, I didn't really participate with chiropractic, didn't have a lot of knowledge about it. But when I was searching for things, and being the business, I have an MBA as well. So being the business background, I was looking for, okay, what's a good business to go into? And
that's awesome. Let me pause you for a second, and I want to hear this story because it's a different approach. Just because you're coming from the business point of view versus trade point of view, what you know how to do it. But I want to leave that for a second segment. I want to hear about you and you as a business owner and a person, regular, ordinary citizen, right? They have a personal life. How do you balance your personal time with your work?
Well, I mean, you enjoy Hawaii, right? I mean, that's why we live here. I love the paddleboard. I love to train and exercise. I try to participate, and we're looking forward to the some of the races that are coming up this year, and just enjoying the outdoors.
What attracted you to come to Hawaii?
It was just one of those things. The door opened when we first landed in Kona, and the door opened in the plane, and I smelt that sweet smell of the flowers that rolled back, and I thought, oh my God, this is it. I'm here. Mm-hmm. And I never turned back. It took me about 6 years to actually move over here, but I always knew that this is where I wanted to be.
I love it because the first time people said that because of smell. That's awesome. I love it. So you mentioned a little bit that you like outdoors, but you still, when you involved in a business and you work in a business and you're a business owner, a lot of time you're taking that business with you home, right? So how do you turn off and turn on when it comes to the business, and then when you're at home and you want to have some downtime, maybe do something else? How you make that switch?
Well, I think that comes from, even training in the hotel. Because the hotel, when I was in the hotel, you can always take your work home with you, and you just have to make a decision that, okay, when I leave, I'm leaving. And when you go home, your home life is your personal life. Now, naturally, there's going to be some overflow every once in a while, but then you just have to kind of pocket that time and schedule that on your days off or when you're, at home at night. But otherwise, when you leave the office, you leave the office. And it's easier with what I do now than the hotel. The hotel was always calling me. When I'm in practice now,
you're not going to call yourself.
Yeah. My employees are home too, so they're not calling me with problems. When we close the door. So, but when you have issues, being a caregiver and a healthcare provider, there are those cases of people that you just want to help so badly because they're in such pain or misery with their life. And, sometimes, you wake up in the middle of the night and go, God, how can I help that person? How can I better help that person? But, for the most part, you can turn it off.
Perfect. Just briefly, one more time, a couple of hobbies. What do you do for fun? Anything specific?
Like I said, I like to paddleboard.
Wakeboarding. You mentioned wakeboarding, but a river wakeboarding.
Yeah, that was back in my.
Can you do that over here?
No. Well, I guess you can. You have to have a speedboat to pull you.
Right. Right.
So I'm used to my own propeller now on the paddleboard, and I like to lift weights and run and that type of thing. Swim,
Perfect. Today's guest is Dr. Joseph Breuwet, Upper Cervical Chiropractor, Upper Cervical Hawaii LLC. You can find Dr. Breuwet and his team at uppercervicalhawaii.com. Also at 638-1313 and 1600 Capilani Boulevard. The suite number is 1421. So pretty much so many options, but I think the best for people is to go to the website, learn a little bit, and then place the call. One more thing I want to mention for today's show, Dr. Breuwet is offering for everybody who calls and reference to our show and says that they hear Dr. Breuwet at Hawaii Money Resource will receive the free initial consultation that will help them understand how they're doing, where they're at when it comes to their overall situation health-wise, and we're going to learn a little bit more later on what else you should look for. But if you reference to our show, you will receive the free consultation. Other than that, you're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Miushkovic. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
On the west side, traffic on the H1 is clearing, but it's still moving at less than 30 from Kunia Road to the Waimalu Pearl Ridge exit. And then traffic gets really slow again approaching the Middle Street merge because of earlier problems in town. The Moanalua backed up before Pu'uloa Road, H1 backed up to the airport on-ramp. If you're coming in from the east, it's slow from Pu'uikena to Ke'eamoku because of road hazards after Punahou.
My grades were bad. I would get D's and C's.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of. It got worse and worse and worse throughout the years.
There are students who need somebody.
They can trust someone, and it could be the first person they've ever trusted in their life.
Communities in Schools is lowering America's dropout rate by helping more than 1.3 million kids every year get whatever they need to succeed in school.
If something was going on at home, we would go just stop by Miss Liberty's office and talk to her.
Communities in Schools vouched for me when everyone else had lost hope.
You can help change the picture of education right here in your community and across the nation. Visit communitiesInschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
I'm Marko Miushkovic, a partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, one of the region's fastest growing financial services companies. I have a BA, MBA, MSIS, and CXP, but what you come to me for are numbers. I help make your numbers better. Investment numbers, tax numbers, retirement numbers. So let's start with a few important numbers. The first number is 0. That's what it costs to listen to Hawaii Money Resource, my daily radio show. Next number is 7:60 a.m. Last is 5 when my show starts, Monday through Friday night. It all adds up to 60 very profitable minutes.
Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004, 1-888-600-4667. Securities, products, and advisory services offered through PAS member FINRA SIPC, financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Wealth Strategy Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. 2014-16224, expiration 1/2017.
How would you like to work in the world of finance? Wealth Strategy Partners is considering smart, motivated financial associates. You will have the potential to earn competitive earnings while providing a necessary service to the community. Furthermore, when you join Wealth Strategy Partners, you will be eligible to receive a full benefits package, including insurance, a pension plan, and more. If you enjoy working with people and have an interest in making a difference in people's lives, contact Wealth Strategy Partners, 695-2102. That's 695-2102. Make the call that could change your life. 695-2102. Join Wealth Strategy Partners. 695-2102. Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, abbreviated PAS, 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004. Securities, products, or services and advisory services are offered through PAS, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. PAS is a member of FINRA SIPC.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marco Muscovich. If you'd like to speak to Marco, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marco Miushkovic, and you are listening to Hawaii Money Resource. 5 p.m., 760 KGU. You can hear us. You can also hear us online at hawaiimoneyresource.com, hawaiimoneyresource.com, pretty much any day, anytime, because you can go online, you can stream live if you are streaming during 5 to 6 p.m., or you can download the podcast and sign up for RSS feed and a bunch of other stuff. Even the Facebook. I didn't promote the Facebook for a long time, but you can go online and go to facebook.com/Hawaii Money Resource, and you can like our page, and then pretty much you're going to get all the information firsthand. We have some great people in the office working hard to make sure that everything is current on social media. And of course, if you want to talk to me, if you're a business owner, you're stuck, you don't know where to go, what to do in your business, how to grow it, how to sell it, 695-2102, 695-2102. Let's go back to our guest today, Dr. Joseph Breuwet, Upper Cervical Hawaii, LLC. Dr. Joe is Upper Cervical Chiropractor, uppercervicalhawaii.com. Joe. I can call you Joe, right?
Yeah.
Joe, I appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself personally, and I like your story, how you decided to stay in Hawaii and why. If people didn't hear it, they can download the podcast. But let's talk about your business. When did you decide to take a leap of faith and go from receiving the paycheck to writing a paycheck yourself, meaning becoming your own boss?
Well, when I was talking about Marriott and how I was with Marriott, it really came to the forefront to me about how much in control you are, or how much lack of control you have over your destiny, and how much financial limits you have when you're working for somebody else. And you have to jump through whatever hoops they set
corporate.
Up. Yeah, exactly.
Tell me a story about 30 emails.
Oh, well, it became so micromanaged after 9/11. It used to be a very empowering environment where it was my business. And then after 9/11, I'd walk in the morning and I have 30 emails, and we need a response, 10 of them. I need a response immediately. And in the meantime, my hotel needs me. I've got the restaurant going on. I've got people coming into work and people calling off, and I've got to respond to these immediate emails that, to me were worthless, So it was just a lot of micromanaging that made the job not fun anymore. So I wanted to become an entrepreneur, but I really didn't know what to do. And then I thought, from a business aspect, supply and demand, there's always a supply in healthcare. So I came at healthcare from the back entrance of it, actually. A lot of people a lot of chiropractors, a lot of healthcare providers have a personal experience in their life that draws them into that. And it wasn't me. It wasn't that for me. It was totally business. So as I started looking into healthcare, I was kind of searching around for what I wanted to do. I thought, I don't want to be a veterinarian because all the pets hate you. I don't want to be a surgeon because I don't want to cut into people. I was always into natural healthcare anyway. So I had a friend, because like I said, in my hometown, that's where the original chiropractic school was. And I had a friend that was going to Palmer Chiropractic and said, because I was thinking about sports rehabilitation too. I had been thinking about that for years. And a friend of mine said, well, they have a rehabilitation area. They have a physical therapy area in the chiropractic school. So I went and looked at it, and it just really resonated with me, and it just really struck home. And I often think, it was so far removed from what I was thinking I was going to do that I was just completely led into where I'm at now. And kind of like when I started chiropractic school, I had a lot of friends in the area and said, well, if you're going to chiropractic school, you got to look into this upper cervical. I had never heard of it. As soon as I looked into it, I thought, well, why wouldn't everybody do that?
Right. It makes so much sense. Why don't we do it? But let me just pause you for a moment. The thing is, when you start doing this, first of all, you were not 18. When you decided to go back and become a chiropractor, you were not 18. So how did you make that decision? Because you need to understand there will be some additional time to need to pass before you get that designation, this degree. So, I mean, how did you make that commitment? Because that is the commitment on itself, on its own, just to begin with.
It's just one of those decisions that I made that I don't want to live the rest of my life working under the thumb of somebody else, you know, and so what am I going to do? And, you know,
And you also said because of your business degree and your MBA, you kind of got into the back door. Pretty much, you got in not because you just got in knowing that this is a good business to be in. How did you make that decision? How did you know that this is actually the business that can produce some revenue, that can grow, and all the other stuff that business owners are actually looking at when they're running the business?
Well, the thing
did you do any research, planning, or anything?
Well, not a lot, to be honest with you. Not a lot. It just kind of resonated.
Gut feeling.
Yeah, it resonated with me, and I went with it. But I laugh about it because the reason that I was drawn into healthcare in the first place, because I did not want to be controlled by supply and demand and the economy. And so what do? I get into an area of healthcare that is totally dependent on discretionary income, not necessarily, you know, mandatory healthcare.
Right.
So I ended up in the same boat, in a sense, anyway. But, you know.
Well, you're right, because it is not something like that you really need to buy this drug to feel better or whatever. It's like something that people decide, they need to make conscious decision to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so what happened? People said, okay, come check this out, upper cervical, what is this? And what did you realize? Because upper cervical, you said it's one of 3 of you instead of Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So there is not a lot of chiropractors specializing in upper cervical. So how did you say, okay, this is the great, choice?
Well,
and why?
It was just reinforced to me the more I went through chiropractic school, because what I learned about what upper cervical is that all of the posture in the body is controlled at the brainstem level where we're working. And also the nervous system, the key point of the nervous system is at the brainstem. And so every function in the body is controlled, in essence, at the brainstem level. So it didn't make sense to me to go and start popping somebody's knee or popping somebody's hip, you know, and thinking that I was going to perform miracles when the brainstem is the key of the whole body. So to me, it made total sense. And so that's kind of how and it was just reinforced as I went through chiropractic school, because chiropractic school, it starts out very heavy theory, and then you start getting a little farther into school and you start, you know, this is how we test. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound too accurate. And then when you start learning how to adjust, it's like, okay, you know, just hit, you know, check this area, touch this area, and go ahead and adjust this. I'm like, really?
So freestyling.
Yeah. I'm like, I walked out of my first adjustment with a student after the teacher was watching. The teacher didn't even watch. The teacher was looking at our paperwork and wasn't even watching us. I thought, really? That's all there is to it? I'm so glad I'm in upper cervical, where it's very scientific, very specific, very precise. And
okay, so how much freestyling is actually in chiropractic?
Well, there's all different types. So I don't want to say chiropractic is great, and chiropractic benefits so many hundreds of thousands and millions of people every year. But there's just different types of chiropractic. There's very freelancing chiropractic. There's more specific techniques of chiropractic. The technique that I use is probably the most specific type of chiropractic.
Most narrowed one.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So what happened then? You finished. You how long was the schooling?
3.5 years.
And what happened after that?
I turned 41.
Well,
and then said, "Oh crap! What am I going to do now?" No. I always knew that I wanted to come back to Hawaii, so it was always my plan that when I was going through school, that when I graduate, I'm going to come to Hawaii. And I guess that one of the things is that I just didn't allow myself to think too deep about it, because you can scare yourself out of anything.
Right, you can get
depressed. So I just had in my head what I was going to do. I didn't think about any of the obstacle I was going to, I knew there was going to be obstacles, but I don't want to dwell on them. All I knew was what I was going to do. So we sold the house, packed up, moved to Hawaii after a month after I graduated, and I started practice over in Kona, because that's where I wanted to live ideally, was Kona. And after about 4 years, it was a tough haul in Kona. Kona's a totally different economy than it is on this island.
It's economy on its own.
Yeah, and I mean, the economic waves that happen in Kona, and fluctuations all based on tourism. I really struggled. I learned a lot, but I really struggled. And so then about 4 years into it is when I moved over to this island, because I kept getting more people flying over to Kona from this island. And I thought, why don't I just go over to that island?
Right, and open the office. So when you started and opened the office in Kona, like, how hard was it to make that first month?
Well, I always have had the ambition and the drive that I knew I could make anything work. The frustrating thing to me in Kona compared to this island is there was just very limited avenues of marketing. So as far as doing an expo, there's no expo. There's like one
There's
expo
no
a
expos.
year. Yeah, maybe 2 expos a year in the whole city of, the whole area of Kona. As far as even social groups, there's, I think the Elks are, there's like 2 social groups, and there's, there's just not a lot of avenues. I totally wore out the vitamin shop. I had been there so many times. The other health food store over there closed. So,
right.
So
they ran out of business.
Yeah. So, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity to get out of the office and try to market. And so...
so you probably had some tough time then for 4.5 years. But you still got 4.5 years is a long period of time. How was the financing? Like, I know because you're pretty much, if you don't see the patients, you don't bill, right? So how was the beginning part? Like, when did you actually start making any revenue?
When I moved here and opened practice here.
Okay.
Really?
So what happened? Live off the savings?
Yeah, and actually my parents helped me out a lot. It was that bad. It was like, every, patient that would come in, and I hated practicing this way because it was when a patient would come in, I'm like, oh, please sign up for care because my light bill's due, and I didn't, I didn't want that to dictate how I was caring for people, that I needed money. And it was really a struggle. My worst month in Kona was after I was open 4 years in May. The economy tanked.
Force
in May.
into it.
Yeah,
Force.
And so I thought, you know what, I'm moving. I have to. So I packed up and moved. And
so you made a lot of decisions in your career.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you know what you know, will you do it again, or you will stick and work for someone else?
Oh, there's no way. There's no way. The benefits and where I am right now, and now that I'm successful and doing well, I hear people come into my office and it's like, oh yeah, telling me woo stories about, oh yeah, I had to do this at work, or I had to stay late, or, my boss is a jerk or whatever. And I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have that. I don't have a boss.
You have. It's yourself.
Yeah.
Perfect. Why don't we take another break? By the way, Dr. Joe is graciously offering that whoever mentioned the Hawaii Money Resource Show and his show today can receive the free consultation. So you can pretty much talk to Dr. Joe and figure out if the upper cervical might be beneficial to you. You can find them at uppercervicalhawaii.com. Also phone number 638-1313, or you can stop by their office in old Pan Am building at 1600 Kapiolani Boulevard, 1421. That building probably has a different name now, right?
No, it's still Pan Am.
It's
still
Pan Am. They don't call it old. Okay, I was thinking they'd change it by now. Okay, anyway, you're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Miushkovic. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
On the west side, traffic on the H1 is clearing, but it's still moving at less than 30 from Kunia Road to the Waimalu Pearl Ridge exit. And then traffic gets really slow again approaching the Middle Street merge because of earlier problems in town. The Moanalua backed up before Pu'uloa Road, H1 backed up to the airport on-ramp. If you're coming in from the east, it's slow from Pu'uikena to Ke'eamoku because of road hazards after Punahou.
So we had this break-in on our block, and that triggered my mama bear instincts. I work full-time, so I'm not home when my kids get home. Sometimes I'm not even home before dinner. So it got me thinking, what if that was my home? I had to take action to protect my family. We started researching home security systems, and the clear winner was Vivint. Best price, best technology, super easy to use. It's a fully monitored security system, but I love their video technology most. I can actually see what's going on in my home right from my smartphone, tablet, or computer. I check it before my kids get home, then again around 4 so I know they got home safely. I can even lock the doors remotely if they forget. Vivint keeps me in control of my family's safety, even when I can't be home.
Take control of your family's safety with Vivint. Order now for up to $1,300 in security equipment at no charge. Just pay as little as $99 for activation. Plus, call now and installation is free. Call 800-569-0364. 800-569-0364. 800-569-0364.
People put a lot of thought into going into business, but not so much into how they'll get out, which makes it easy to get stuck. That's why Marko Muscovich handpicks a team of lawyers, accountants, tax, and industry specialists to help you make your business exit plan. You get yourself into business, Marko will help you get out. Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004, 1-888-600-4667. Securities, products, and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Guardian, New York, New York, PAS is an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Wealth Strategy Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. 2015-09890.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Muscovich. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the Outer Islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Muscovich, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, and you're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Make sure you tune at 5 p.m. at 760 KGU to listen to our show. You can also stream live at hawaiimoneyresource.com, hawaiimoneyresource.com. So as long as you're doing that at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, you're good to go. Make sure you also to give me a call, 695-2102, 695-2102, if you don't know where to go with your business or do not know where you want to get out of that business. 695-2102. So let's go back to our guest today, Dr. Joseph Breuwet, upper cervical chiropractor. Name of the business is Upper Cervical Hawaii. You can find him online, uppercervicalhawaii.com. Joe, I kind of have a feeling like you moved to Kona, started there, and then you moved to Honolulu, so you need to restart your business. How is that feeling? Because that's another decision on its own that you needed to make among all the other decisions that you made in the past, especially because chiropractic is not something that started at age 18.
No.
You were a career changer. That not only changing career, but you also went to school first to change that career later.
Sure. And a lot of investment, with that. Well, that was the first time I think that I was really scared, because when I moved over here, it's kind of hard on the ego and hard on the confidence when things aren't going exactly the way you wanted to, and it's 4
start
years.
Doubting yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought, man, if I can't make it here, I don't have any excuses. I'm out of excuses, and fortunately, that's not what happened, and so. I regained my confidence because I knew that, deep down, I knew that I had the drive and the ability to do it and the confidence to do it. It just, I just needed the right environment.
I asked you during the break, what is the slow when you hit the bottom in Kona and make the decision to move over here? And I asked you, so how many patients you were seeing? What did you say?
Well, I was seeing about in a week over there what a slow day would be over here. So,
let me repeat. What you were seeing in a week over here, it will be a slow day here.
Oh, is that what I said? I'm sorry.
No. You said in Kona was a slow. It was what you see in a week. It's actually a slow day.
It's a slow day here. Yeah.
Nice. So, what did you do to revamp your business or restart the business?
Well, the great thing about Oahu and Honolulu is that there is all kinds of marketing opportunities. There's expos that go on at the Blaisdell, 1 to 3, 4 times a week, or a month rather. There's different social groups. There is, like this. There's a marketing avenues that don't exist there, and so I'm able to get out and to talk to people because a lot of times, my experience is, say that we do an expo over at the Blaisdell, and with my experience, that there's a lot of people that are walking around and they know they need some help and they know they need some care, but they don't know of anybody. And so what we do is provide the ability for them to meet us and feel confident in who they are coming to, and then they're able to make the step. It's not like you're just getting on the internet or going through the phone book, if that even exists anymore, but going through the phone book.
What is that? The stuff that you put under the chair or table? Yeah. To make it level. You're right.
Yeah, but, so you're not just blindly going to somebody and just hoping that you chose right, so that's why
it's like going for a test drive first and seeing before you make commitment.
Exactly, so you kind of get, and so that's where, we get a lot of our new patients is because we get ourselves out in the public and we meet and introduce ourselves to people, and they start to feel comfortable with us and say, yeah, I feel comfortable giving you a try and maybe you can help me. And then the fortunate thing is I'm able to help the majority of the people that walk in the door.
So, covering the marketing right now, expos, trade shows, what else? What else did you do? Association, groups?
Yeah, and then I do a lot of in-house marketing. So basically we run specials and events to our patients. I do a dinner twice a year where I invite my patients to ask people to come to the dinner who are interested in this care or just curious and have questions about the care. We buy them dinner, and I do a talk and explain upper cervical. We do the expos. We do other in-house events where we, offer free consultations to referrals from our current patients. As far as outside, the internet, I've got a specialist that's a specialist in social media, and he is constantly tagging Twitter and Facebook with different articles and things like that about my practice that we get hits on the internet, which is something that's newer in the last year, but it's been huge for the practice. So those kind of marketing avenues.
So for marketing, even though you're not in marketing business, but you need to have a marketing engine to produce new influx of patients. As a business owner, it's now that your MBA part kicks in. Tell me about the challenges that you were facing in Hawaii just in general, and also when you moved to Honolulu, like all the challenges that you were facing, other than just like, the problems that you have in Hawaii. What else? What other hurdles you had in a whole process of rebuilding the business?
Well, I think one of the biggest myths of people that come from the mainland and come to Hawaii is that, Hawaii has, everybody in Hawaii, if you live in Hawaii, you must have a lot of money. Well, people are middle class and people have incomes like they do on the mainland, and cost of living is a lot higher here. So especially when the economy is struggling a little bit, people in Hawaii have a harder time. So when you are in a business that's discretionary, you have to work a lot harder. You have to find the people that, really value their health to go ahead and spend the money anyway. And I think employment challenges are a little different. I mean, I know we have a very low unemployment rate, and it really affects the quality of people, because the people that you have in your business or represent you, they're the ones that answer the phone first. They're the ones that people see when they come in the office. And so, when you have somebody that's sitting at your desk that's not exactly the quality of person or the performance that you would deem worthy of your business, it can affect and hurt your business. So those are some of the bigger challenges that I felt as we got started. As far as exposure and people interested, and especially because I'm, one of the only ones in the state, that there's always an interest, and people are always interested in, what's that? You don't twist crack, what is this? And so I get a lot of interest from that. So
was this move to Hawaii also strategic because you probably knew that there is no other upper cervical chiropractors in Hawaii, or maybe there's only few of you, or that was just a lucky move?
to the state?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to live here.
Okay, and this was kind of like, okay, good. I'm like have my niche.
Yeah. Well, and because what we do is very specific, so it does involve very specific x-rays. So when someone was going to be moving to this island or to the state from the mainland, startup is a little more intensive than it would be just opening up if I was opening up in Colorado, say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so upper cervical, the word is a mystery on its own. So for someone who doesn't know much, give me just a few minutes overview so people can learn a little bit more. What is this upper cervical mean and how that relate to the chiropractic?
Sure. Well, first of all, the cervical spine is the neck. And so when we're talking about upper cervical, we're talking about the very top of the neck. The bone that's at the very top of the neck, called the atlas, is what the head sits on, and that bone surrounds the brainstem. And so how your range of motion is with your head, it's much more extensive than any other bones in the body. So because your head range of motion is so extensive, that bone also has a great deal of range of motion that's different than all the other bones in your spine. So it can be misaligned 10,000 different positions. So a random correction very often does not help or maximize the benefit you can get from that kind of adjustment. That's why it has to be a very precise correction that puts it back in place exactly where it's supposed to go and takes pressure off of the brainstem. And that area is twofold. It controls the nervous system in the body, and it also has nerves around the brainstem that control all the posture in the body. So it affects your posture as far as your hips leveling, your legs leveling, your body balancing, and also all of the nerve function in your body that controls digestion and heart rate and lung function and everything else.
So question, sometimes when people go to see a chiropractor, let's say there was pinched nerve somewhere in their body, and then once they get adjusted, they see progression in their overall health. So are you saying that potentially not only that the pinched nerve can be somewhere on the lower back, on the upper back, or whatever, it can also be right at the bottom of the
brainstem. So typically when I have a patient come in and I know it's brainstem issue is when they have digestive issues, they've got migraine headaches, they've got ringing in the ear, they might have dizziness, they've got multiple symptoms. Because I kind of explain it like, if you have a garden hose and the garden hose is running, and then you go over towards the faucet, and then you step on the garden hose. Well, the end of the garden hose is going to have less flow because the pressure is all the way at the end. So it's the same thing. If you have pressure on the brainstem, it's going to affect everything else all the way down the body. So so that nerve interference, I've had people that have sciatic, which is going down the leg, nerve pain or shocking going down the legs, that are relieved from adjusting the upper cervical area. And not only that, because it levels out the pelvis, and that can help the sciatic as well.
So what about if you come across someone and it says, okay, and it's not only in the upper cervical area problem, there is probably somewhere else too?
Then I do adjust other areas. So first we make sure that after we adjust the upper cervical and all the body shakes down how it's going to adjust itself, then I go in, because oftentimes people have chronic issues that, they've had hip misalignment for 30 years. Well, it's going to need some help. So I do other adjusting. I still don't do that big twisting, cracking, popping. I do more subtle adjusting, but it's also very effective. And so once we tell the brainstem to let the body balance out and then we correct it, it's doubly effective.
What is the experience that people can expect, and how do you control and maintain the quality of the service when someone comes to you?
Well, I'm the only practitioner in my office, and I've tried other methods, but that to me works the best because I like to be in charge and control of my patient's health. And we run an extremely professional environment, a very up-to-date environment. I have some of the latest technology as far as testing goes, digital x-rays, those type of things. And I have, coming from hospitality, I have an extreme attention to customer service. And so, my staff is very attentive to patients and very professional, and that's just the environment that I expect. Because if somebody is coming to me, I feel a big responsibility that they're entrusting me with their health care, and it's up to me to do the best job I can to help
to
them
deliver
the best
it
way I can. Exactly.
So if someone comes in, let's say they listen to our show and they said, okay, I want to go and get the free consultation just because I hear Dr. Joe speaking at Hawaii Money Resource, what is the process?
So first we do a history and find out what's going on. Then we do explain a little bit about upper cervical care and how it works. And then we do several exams. I have a thermography exam we do that can detect where nerve interference is going on in the spine. We have electromyography, which basically picks up where your muscles, it picks up the electric pulse your muscles are giving off in your posture and can tell what kind of tensions and imbalance you have in your muscle structure and your posture. We do digital balancing. I put you on weight scales that are digital and tells how far off your balance is. And then we do 3-dimensional digital x-rays as well.
So what you do is you create a profile or something, right?
Well, what we do, I've had people actually go into tears when they see some of these tests because they, you know what, I've been going to people and I've been telling what's going on and everybody tells me it's in my head. There it is right on that screen. It's saying that my mid-back is pulling off 150 percent times off to the right-hand side, to the left-hand side. That's what I've been telling everybody. It's right there. It's visual. And that's what people really like about the tests that we do because they can see what's going on with their body right in front of them.
And you said that there is when you come for a first initial consultation, you do the x-rays?
Yes.
And that will tell you pretty much how the bones are aligned.
Yeah, that's what gives me the very precise. I measure down to a 16th of a degree exactly how that top bone is misaligned, and that tells me exactly how to correct it. And then we do a post x-ray after the adjustment. It's the only type of chiropractic that actually verifies the correction. So I can see that we definitely got the correction.
So how many people, from your experience, you can actually help, and how many people need to seek other professional help?
Well, typically, when I have a patient that I've adjusted and they come back into my office after the adjustment, usually about 80% of my patients that come back in after their first adjustment definitely feel changes. I would say that number goes up to probably about 90%, 90 plus from people that have been under care for 2 months, 3 months, that they feel benefits and they feel changes. That's what's so invigorating about what I do, because it's very rare that I have somebody that, you know what, I've been seeing you for 3 months and I don't see any changes. I hardly ever hear that.
Does insurance providers providing, how you pay for the service?
I'm not a provider for insurance, but what we do is we give our patients their, what we call the super receipt that has all the numbers and diagnosis codes. And if my patients have chiropractic coverage in their plan, then when they submit that, they're reimbursed based on their coverage.
Okay, so insurance can potentially cover it.
Oh, yeah, because I bill as a chiropractor. I'm technically a licensed chiropractor.
Okay, perfect. So tell me anything else, like when it comes to your business, like how do you see as a business owner, what do you see that industry in general is going? Like is in a decline or is in upswing? Like what do you think?
Oh, my business is in a total upswing, because especially now since Obamacare and, insurance companies are just getting radically restrictive of what they're reimbursing. And they're driving people, and doctors are afraid to prescribe MRIs or to prescribe drugs, for pain, that people are being forced. And plus, usually when you go into a medical office, they give you 2 minutes of their time and then they give you a medication, you leave. And so many people are getting tired of that type of health care because it's not fixing, it's not curing, it's not healing them.
It's a reactive versus a proactive.
Exactly. And so they're looking for things that are alternative, that they can heal, that they're not going to be a lifetime on drugs, that they're not going to be in rehabilitation for the rest of their life, that they actually can get better. And so they're searching out practitioners of my type because they want to get better. They don't want to get stuck in that system where they're just pushed from side to side to side.
You're
and
right.
Not really getting any answers.
You're right. It's called system. Perfect. Today's guest, Dr. Joseph Breuwet. Make sure when you call Dr. Joe at 638-1313, please mention that you hear his voice at Hawaii Money Resource. You will get a free initial consultation where you can figure out if the upper cervical is beneficial to you. Today's guest, Dr. Joseph Breuwet, Upper Cervical Hawaii LLC. We're going to take our last break and then we're going to wrap up today's today's show. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
On the west side, traffic on the H1 is clearing, but it's still moving at less than 30 from Cunha Road to the Waimalu Pearl Ridge exit. And then traffic gets really slow again approaching the Middle Street merge because of earlier problems in town. The Moanalua backed up before Pu'uloa Road, H1 backed up to the airport on-ramp. If you're coming in from the east, it's slow from Pu'uikena to Ke'eamoku because of road hazards after Punahou.
Achieving personal financial success can be complicated. Marko Muscovich can make it simpler. That's something very good to know in a world where the wrong financial decisions can be all too costly. Marko Muscovich, Vice President of Wealth Strategy Partners, has been helping people in Hawaii successfully organize and plan their finances for years. Marko uses an holistic approach to help you balance your current financial obligations as well as your future concerns. And he does this while keeping things simple. Organizing your finances is serious business, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Find out how Marko can help you make smart, informed decisions about your financial future. Call him and schedule your complimentary session and tell him your story. He's there to listen. The toll-free number to call is 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102. 877-695-2102. Marko Muscovich.
We all want to retire someday, but how will you afford it? Marko Muscovich here, financial advisor for Wealth Strategy Partners. Times are tough, but nothing brings comfort and security like having a financial strategy. Some financial strategies can be complicated, all those numbers and percentage points. It makes your head spin, but that's why I created an easier to understand system called Retirement Income Timeline. Let me analyze your situation using my retirement income timeline, and I'll show you how you may be able to turn your money worries of today into a stress-free retirement of tomorrow. It's easy. Just call me and I'll assist you. Get your personal retirement income timeline by me, Marko Muscovich, today. Call 695-2102, 695-2102.
Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, abbreviated PAS, 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004. Securities products or services and advisory services are offered through PAS, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. PAS is a member FINRA SIPC.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Muscovich. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Muscovich, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. You can also hear us online, hawaiimoneyresource.com, or you can tune in at 5 p.m. at 760 KGU AM. Today's guest is Dr. Joseph Breuwet, Upper Cervical Chiropractor, Upper Cervical Hawaii LLC. Joe, thank you so much. This was a great show. We learned a lot about this niche in chiropractic business or chiropractic care providing, or however you want to call it. Healthcare, simplified healthcare, right there. Joe, for the end of the show, we have like 2 minutes left. Just quickly, where are you taking your business to?
It just keeps growing. We talked at the end of the segment, how our Western medicine and our current healthcare system is just driving people to look for alternatives, and they're looking for alternatives for healthcare, not sick care. And so people are just becoming more focused on wanting to obtain and continue good health. And so that's why they're looking for the alternative.
And outlook is positive.
Oh, most definitely.
Perfect. Second question, and I ask everybody, all the business owners, regardless of the industry, what is your exit strategy out of this business?
Well, basically, I don't have any current plans at the moment, but basically, I always look at my business as an asset. So, I always want to make sure that the office stays looking great and the patient care is great and my staff is great and everybody's on the mark. And if somebody were to walk into my business and be a potential buyer, I want it to always look like it would be marketable. And, that I think that is what keeps my business fresh and what keeps it, you walk into some offices like, God, did they ever paint these walls in the last 10 years? I don't want my business to look like it's
run down. Perfect. Yeah. Just 10 seconds. If someone is starting the business right now, regardless of the industry, what will be your word of wisdom?
Oh, you just have to be dedicated. It takes energy. It takes effort. You got to be dedicated. The payoff is great, but
takes time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Today's guest, Dr. Joseph Breuwet. Joe, thank you so much for being guest at Hawaii Money Resource.
Thank you.
Perfect. Dr. Joseph Breuwet, Upper Cervical Hawaii LLC, uppercervicalhawaii.com. By the way, if you mention that you hear Dr. Joe at Hawaii Money Resource, you're going to get a complimentary consultation where you're going to decide if the upper cervical is beneficial to you and your health. My name is Marko Miušković. Another great show. By the way, download the podcast if you miss any part of the show. Other than that, stay tuned. Do not change the channel, and we'll be right back.
The Living Balance Sheet and the Living Balance Sheet logo are registered service marks of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. The graphics and text used herein are the exclusive property of Guardian and protected under U.S. and international copyright laws. Copyright 2005 to 2011. The Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations. Marko Miušković is a registered representative and financial advisor for Park Avenue Securities, LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004. Securities products, services, and advisory services are offered through Park Avenue Securities, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. Financial representative, the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Wealth Strategy Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Park Avenue Securities is a member FINRA SIPC.